Well, greetings, blade fans. Welcome back to this old sword blade reviews. And yeah, that is me, this old sword. I got a new one for you today that I'm very impressed with. It's an Italian knife made by the Viper Company, and it is called the Keeper 2. That might lead you to believe that it's not a new model because, yes, there was the original Keeper. And I'm going to tell you a few things about this in order to get it right from the Viper webpage about this knife. It says, as the name suggests, the Keeper 2 is not a new model, but is an updated edition of an iconic design by Master Fabrizio Silvestrelli. It is an elegant folding knife that has the appeal of a dagger, a false bayonet blade sharpening, and a guard. In this new version, the Keeper 2 has a better steel. The blade steel is now L-Max and even faster and flawless action thanks to the use of ball bearings, which make its opening and even more lightning fast. Titanium pocket clip and something called the A.S.L.S. That is the Smart Automatic Safe Lock System. And I'm going to show you that in detail. It is really amazing, I think. And I won't go on much further than that. You can look up that information for yourself. Most of us are web savvy these days. What have we got here but what they're calling a light stainless carbon fiber? Now, they don't give a description of how it's made, but that matrix looks like it could be steel, and that's what they're talking about. And the dark material is carbon fiber, but it just gives you a Damascus kind of a look. There are several handle materials available with this knife, so this is not the only one should you not like it. It is smooth, bordering on a little bit slippery. It is not a weight relief knife, but it is not exceptionally heavy either. It's got wide open construction. The beautiful thing about the Italian knives, whether it's lion steel usually, or Viper, or even Fox, is that they radius, they chamfer, they crown all of what would otherwise be flat edges. This is crowned. The back spacer is crowned. You can see that roundness to it. Even the liners are crowned. I don't know if you can see that, but the edges are broken. They're not completely flat. Here is the interesting lockup system. It's a double lock. It is not difficult to disengage. I don't know, I think you can see that. Right here, what we've got is a little piece that is jimped that slides back, and then you push the liner over. And you can learn to do that all in one movement. It's not difficult. It isn't a big deal. It isn't that you've got to have all sorts of special, gymnastic ability with your fingers. Beautiful action. I'm going to show you this again, only I'm going to use two hands. We've got this part here, which inserts a pin up in the, it must be in the tang of the blade. And then you push this over. Or it could be that it's pushing it into the liner somehow. I'm not really sure. I haven't taken it apart. But if you just try to push this over, it's not going to close. You've got to come back and over. You see? That's all one movement. No problem whatsoever. All right? You wouldn't even know I'm doing that if I didn't tell you I'm doing that. Okay? But that's how it works. So that is a nice safety to have on a liner lock or even a frame lock, where you don't need to put anything special on the other side to lock out the liner. It's just that easy. I mean, you don't even know I did anything special. And we've got these double Killian sort of guards here that have some heavy jimping on them. So when you set your grip up this way, you're not going anywhere. I mean, I cannot slide my thumb off of there. It is caught on there. Really, really nice. But if you wanted to place your thumb on the spine of the blade, that's not a real problem. You do get poked a little bit by this, but it depends. If you're this way, you don't feel it. If you try to lay it flat, you're going to feel it. So it may not be the knife for those of you that like to lay your thumb completely flat along the back, but for those that like to grab it like saber grip this way, perfectly grippy safe. You're not going to slide. Or here for utility tasks. But I have to tell you, this is sort of set up to be a tactical / defensive knife. It is, however, sharp, and I'll give you a sharpness test a little bit later. And again, the action is really, really nice. Now, what are you noticing? Anytime we have these double guards tilting back, yes, you have the ability to wave it open. So that catches on the pocket on the way out. We have a deep carry titanium clip that is pommel mounted. So you just remove those 2 screws, swing it over to the other side, and then you're carrying it left. No problem whatsoever. We're going to do some measurements on this. And I got taken to task today by somebody a little bit, not terribly, who said, why don't you use metric, all 100% metric? You know, technical is always metric these days, and you don't use imperial units. I'm sorry, folks. I'm not from Scientific American. I'm not here to give you an engineering degree. And if you can't convert, God, I feel sorry for you. If you want to take a metric measurement and put it into inches, you can. If you wanted to take imperial inches and feet, you can turn it into centimeters and millimeters. For whatever reason, I like to give both on the blade thickness and inches everywhere else. So, you know, damn me if you like, but I think you get it. You can sort of understand the size of it. That's really all I'm doing here. So we got 8 1/4 inches, maybe just a little bit more overall length. We have 3 3/4 to the handle on the blade and about the same on the cutting edge. It is not a small knife, but it is packing a lot of blade into that 8 1/4 inches. Handle thickness, 0.62. Blade thickness, 0.12. And here's my millimeters, because it's a thin measurement. That's why I use millimeters, 3.2 millimeters. So relatively thin blade stock, not like 4 millimeters-ish. No big, heavy duty. And that's why it is not really a heavy knife, I don't think. 4.42 ounces. So well under 4.5 ounces. Certainly well under 5 ounces. And stand by. We're going to do a little cutting. So as they said on the webpage description, it is Elmax steel, and it is a pretty high grind. Let's see how far back I can get. Okay. Here we go. Ooh. Ooh. She's a Sharpie. She's a Sharpie. So yeah, I like that. I like that edge. It appears to be a very thin behind the edge, flat grind, not hollow. Beautiful swedge at the top. Really gives you that kind of piercy, daggery sort of a look. Gorgeous handle material, as I said, that stainless and carbon fiber. They're calling it light stainless or light steel carbon fiber, I think is how they described it. Here is another Viper knife I did a review on a while back. This is the Start. That's what they call it, the Start. And it is a humongous knife with at least a 4-inch blade compared to the Keeper 2. Yeah, 4 inches. And 9 1/4 overall. So a full inch longer. That's the start. That's from N690. As I mentioned, L-Max. They upgraded on the Keeper 2. And here is a cool little fixed blade called the Lil 2. Another Viper knife. This one I did a review on a good year ago or so. Realizing now they're not all in the frame. There you go. So Big Daddy, medium-ish, and small. Fat carbon fiber on this one. I think it's the Arctic Storm. It's beautiful. Really, really nice. And again, beautiful jimping they do on these. I mean, you see this on the Bastinelli knives made in Italy as well. That crown spine, beautiful jimping, and the hold, the grip, the ergos, really, really perfect. And they make great sheaths too. They're better than the Bastinelli sheaths. I think Bastinelli's got to start getting sheaths like they make for their own knives in Italy. And this is a backlock, by the way. But look, that whole spring, just beautifully finished. I mean, these are the closest things to like a handmade knife, custom-made knife folder, which would cost you maybe $1,000 or more, that you can find in a production knife. I mean, attention to detail. And what you're talking about for this, I think, is this came from White Mountain. I think we're talking, don't quote me on this, I think we're talking in the neighborhood of just 2 or maybe a little more. Could be a bit more. I think it's around $199-ish. But I will be giving you the links. I'm sorry I couldn't come up with that off the top of my head. Looks like T6s for the body screws, unfortunately, and T8 for the pivot on both sides. And we have 2 screws on each side for the hold the handle on, plus the pivot. Again, I love that safety action that they're using on this knife. It is not a pain to disengage. It is for me just because my thumb joint's out of whack and it's getting operated on in a few weeks. But you've got wave opening action. You've got a double guard that's really works extremely well. Gorgeous handle, high quality L-Max steel. I mean, what is not to like on this Keeper 2? Well, I hope you enjoyed this review. Don't forget to give it a like and subscribe. I'll be back soon. Take care.